Welcome, everyone. Hello. My name is Hayfa Al-Harbi. I'll be your moderator for today. We're having quite an exciting conversation today with Dr. Paul Marshall, who is our head of Nature Reserve. So he'll be joining us live all the way from NEOM. Welcome, Dr. Paul. So just to give you a quick introduction about Dr. Paul Marshall, he has been in the conservation for many years, and he's been working in NEOM for the past 6 years, leading exciting projects such as the conservation program within NEOM that already have been creating very big global impacts. Dr. Marshall is also a professor in James Cook University in Australia. Dr. Marshall, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to add anything more in that introduction?
No, thank you, Haifa. It's great to be able to join everybody, and super excited to share what we've been doing here on NEOM in the domain of nature conservation.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall. If you could just give us an idea of what are you doing in the Nature Reserve and what is your main objectives? Just a quick...
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, look, the really important context here is the whole idea behind NEOM, which is to create a living environment, a new city, to accommodate the inevitable expansion of human population, but to do it in a way that brings people to live in harmony with nature, not at the expense of nature. And the whole concept behind NEOM is to create a city that can have as many people as New York or London, but with just 2% of the footprint. And what that sets us up for is this incredible contribution to nature conservation globally, where 95% of NEOM is being protected for nature. And that's where the story of the Nature Reserve really begins.
So the big question here is why NEOM is so committed to nature conservation?
I mean, it's fundamental in a way that NEOM is being designed and built to address some of the biggest problems facing humanity. And many of those stem from the way we live in cities and the way cities have been designed and built in the past. Big footprints, big sprawl, only the richest people can afford to live near the best parks. And these are all things that disconnect people from nature and start to really have set the scene for us to have this really harmful relationship with our planet. It's not sustainable, everybody knows that. And so NEOM is designed to show that there is a different way to do things, a better way to do things. And this is incredible that NEOM has made this commitment to protect so much of its land and sea for nature conservation, and then to bring to life a nature reserve, a national park that will be one of the world's most exciting destinations for people to want to have an experience with nature. And of course, for the residents of NEOM, this will be their front yard and their backyard, a wonderful natural environment to experience the beauty and all the health-giving benefits of time in nature.
That's amazing. Can you just give us an idea of what are the top achievements, would you say, or some project that you are very proud of in NEOM that the Nature Reserve has been working on?
Well, for those people who've heard a little bit about NEOM, you know that the whole project and everybody who works here really prides ourselves in innovation and doing things differently to really sort of shine a light on the path ahead for humanity. And that applies to our conservation work too. So not only are we protecting huge amounts of NEOM for nature, but we're actually investing a lot of time and energy in actually restoring and rebuilding the nature of this area to be the best it possibly can be. And while this area has been free from industrial development historically, there has been a history of overuse of the area for grazing. There's been over-extraction of water, and we're reversing all of those things now to restore nature. And that's captured in three of our biggest programs. Our Regreening program, which will see us bringing 100 million trees, all native trees, all trees that should be here, back into the landscape. We're introducing wildlife that has been historically eradicated from the area, so rewilding on a scale that's never been seen, and doing some really incredible things in terms of rebuilding abundance in our oceans. We have some incredible marine environments in the northern Red Sea, coral reefs, and in the Gulf of Aqaba. So we've got this incredible opportunity to really showcase nature at its best through our conservation work.
So, Dr. Paul, I've been actually quite lucky when I was in NEOM to actually visit the animal reserve over there. And also, I've seen a lot of sites there for regreening projects. So, can you just talk a little bit about that? And is it available for the public to access these areas?
Yeah, so these are really huge conservation initiatives. Together, the regreening and the rewilding programs are a scale that no one's ever attempted before. And these aren't just ambitions, this is work in progress. We've already begun our journey on regreening and rewilding. So the regreening program, in under 2 years, we've already been able to grow from seeds, nurture and then plant out into the ecosystem 4 million plants. That's a great start to our work. But what's been really incredible is to see not just how the plants that we have planted have thrived, but by protecting the areas where we're doing our regreening, a lot of natural regrowth has occurred from the seeds that are there in the seed bank. And so in addition to the dozens of species we've put in, over 50 species of native plants have also bloomed in these areas. And it's really incredible to see just how incredibly beautiful the deserts here can be once you give them the chance to thrive. And what's worth noting is that most people think of the Middle East and Saudi as just being empty deserts. That's so far from the truth, particularly in NEOM. We have these incredible landscapes with our upper high desert, our red desert, which has got these incredible rock outcrops and caverns and caves that are sheltered to a whole range of species, animals and plants. We have this amazing mountain range through the middle of NEOM with heights as high as 2,500 metres. We have snowfall in winter. In fact, I just heard that we might have a chance of snow this weekend, which is super exciting. And then you come down to our coastal deserts, which are beautiful yellow sand deserts that then drop into the marine environment where we've got these incredible coral reefs along the shoreline and then depth down to 1.5 kilometres. So incredible diversity of landscape, which is the backdrop for our work to do the regreening and then the rewilding. And the rewilding programs are really exciting. We've already introduced over 6 species, and it's now we're at 1,100 animals that we have brought back into the landscape through our partnership with the National Centre for Wildlife, who breed a lot of the animals for repopulating the Saudi Arabian landscape. And these animals are thriving. Not only are they doing really well, but they're having lots of babies. So, we've got this incredible opportunity here that we've seen where we've already had 200 babies, including from the oryx. The oryx is a huge gazelle with very strong pointed horns. They were globally extinct in the wild only in the 1970s. And we're part of the effort to bring them back. And so we've not only had oryx, but oryx giving birth to babies for the first time in 100 years in NEOM. So it's been really exciting to see just how much progress we can make through our efforts to really bring this ecosystem back to life.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Paul. I just want to leave it to the audience if anyone has any questions. Go ahead.
Super interesting stuff. Dr. Paul, could you just talk to me a little bit about what's happening with the coral reefs?
Yes, so we've got some beautiful coral reefs in the northern Red Sea and into the Gulf of Aqaba, and they're quite distinct systems with their own virtues. The Gulf of Aqaba, we have these incredibly steep walls, and we've recently completed a whole lot of surveys, including deep water, where we're getting mesophotic, or these sort of twilight coral reefs, down to 150, 200 metres. So really amazing there. And in the Red Sea part of NEOM, we've got these beautiful shallow water reefs in crystal clear water and some beautiful offshore pinnacles and reefs around the islands. From all the research that we've done, it appears that not only are corals in really healthy condition, but actually we may have corals that are some of the most resilient to climate change, most resilient on the whole planet. And there's a whole interesting series of reasons behind that. But what we have here is some coral reefs that are still thriving. There is work for us to do in terms of improving the biomass of fish through our fisheries management programs. But the reefs are in incredible state of health and vigour, and this is something that we understand is not just an incredible asset to NEOM, the real responsibility that we have to make sure we protect them for future generations, and also as a repository of knowledge about the way corals might evolve in extreme heat environments.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Dr. Paul. I'm a person who loves nature. I love hiking, I love camping. So I would like to understand how are you guys utilizing this 95% of land, and how are you activating it for the public? So what sorts of activities that go within that land? Thank you.
To that one. So what I should make clear is that in all of the efforts to protect, we are going through the process of having the whole of the NEOM Nature Reserve designated as a formal legally protected area. And so that includes the marine environment, which will be one of the most amazing marine reserves, and on land, the equivalent of a national park. And all of these are designed to not just protect and be a place for us to restore nature, but also for people to come and engage with nature. So we have an extensive program of developing visitor experiences in the nature reserve, because we have a philosophy of achieving conservation by the inclusion of people, not by the exclusion. So in the course of this year, we're developing and delivering our first visitor experiences in the NEOM Nature Reserve, and these will include 25 experiences that will help people engage deeply with nature, and including an overnight experience on land, a luxury tented safari offering, and then a luxury liveaboard dive boat. And so these will be chances for the first people to come and enjoy NEOM as visitors and guests of our nature reserve. So we're super excited about bringing it to life, not just as a nature reserve for nature, but also as an incredible experience for people.
I think we still have time. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Marco Montefiore. I'm interested. I visited several rewilding processes, particular trying to bring back species that were on the verge of extinction. And there's an evolution, and sometimes it ends up with human-wildlife conflicts. So I'm interested to hear from you if you're taking any measure to prevent or to manage a possible, unexpected outcome, which is basically a fight between human beings and nature again. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Look, in a way, we sort of hope for that problem, because that means we've got enough wildlife that there are those sort of interactions. But in all seriousness, the animals we're bringing back are firstly being introduced into areas that are fenced and protected, and that's for a number of reasons. One, so that we can actually maximise our effectiveness in restoring the vegetation, which becomes the important food base for the animals we're reintroducing. It also enables us to protect the animals, but also to offer experiences within those reserves that enable people to see the animals, but in a controlled environment. In these early days, we want people to engage with our nature program and our conservation efforts, but we really need these conservation programs to be able to proceed at the greatest rate possible, so we bring these wildlife back as quickly as possible. The animals we're bringing back are gazelles, ibex, oryx, and ostriches at the moment, and these are all animals that are very easy to engage with. And so right now, there's our biggest reserve for rewilding is in an area we call Bajda, which is a beautiful red desert area, these amazing rock outcrops. And right now you can book a pass, drive into this area, and we instruct people to stay in their cars for their safety and just for minimal interaction with the animals. But you can drive around and have like an African safari experience, except you're in Arabia. And so you're getting to see the amazing Arabian wildlife in their natural settings in a way that's safe for both the animals and the people.
Thank you. How much of these conservation programs are maintained by humans, and how much by artificial intelligence?
Yeah, nice. I mean, one of the things we're really pushing hard on is how we can bring technology to bear to make conservation more effective. the maintenance of the animals in terms of, overseeing them from a husbandry and veterinary care point of view is all being done by qualified people. The technology really comes into play when we're trying to keep an eye on where the animals are. So we have key animals in each of the groups with satellite collars on so we can track their location. We're also using technology to keep an eye on fence integrity to keep the animals safe. And also for our monitoring and surveillance over the larger landscape. So a combination of AI-supported analysis of remotely sensed images, satellite imagery, using optic fibres and some for fence integrity, and some really sophisticated radar technologies that enable us to detect and identify activities around these rewilding areas so we can quickly differentiate between possible threats and just normal visitor activity. So these are all technologies that we have deployed now, and we'll keep evolving those as our program unfolds over the coming years.
Okay, one more question in the back.
Dr. Paul, how does the line interact with the kind of NEOM Nature Reserve?
Really exciting partnership between the line and the Nature Reserve. I mean, it's very clear to NEOM and the leaders of the line program that a big part of the value proposition, the livability of the line, comes from proximity to nature. So we have this concept where we want to reverse the idea of urban sprawl, but in fact have a nature sprawl. So nature will actually come into parts of the line to make nature super accessible and an integral part of everybody's lives. But when it comes to the sort of the early stages of our planning, we're already working with our colleagues across NEOM to do regreening and rewilding in areas that will, when the line starts to be populated by people, that will have very advanced stages of our regreening and rewilding so that the areas immediately adjacent to the line have access to these amazing restored landscapes. And then there's a whole sort of program of work around how the line as a structure interacts with nature. A lot of research being done at the moment, some very cutting edge research on how we can minimise the impact of the actual line on nature and ensure that nature continues to thrive all around and right through the line even. So there's some really exciting synergies between development and conservation, which is really helping us show the world that development and conservation do not have to be enemies of each other. In fact, in the case of NEOM, they're both mutually reinforcing. So it's really exciting to be part of something that's enabling us to rethink the relationship between people and the planet.
Okay, thank you so much. Before we wrap it up, is there anything you would like to add?
Look, just that, it's so exciting. It's been a real privilege for me to be able to work in this part of the world and just to see the potential of the natural ecosystems here to thrive in ways that most people perhaps wouldn't expect. And really excited about the journey ahead for NEOM and particularly the Nature Reserve. And as we move towards the end of this year and into 2026, it's going to be a destination that anybody who loves nature will have on the top of their bucket list. So we're really hoping to be able to see many people, including the people in this room, come and visit NEOM and be part of our incredible nature conservation experience in the not too distant future. Thanks for the chance to share it with you today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul, and thank you everyone for joining us.